Hello, welcome to our session today on applying to onboarding. Creating Agile Candidate Experiences is easier than you think. In last month's session, we took a look at applying to onboarding from the candidate's perspective, and today we're going to take a look at it from the recruiter's perspective. If you were unable to attend part one, don't worry, we will get you caught up at the beginning of the session today. So first of all, my name is Stephanie Austri, and I'm the marketing manager here at HR Strategies Consulting. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to spend the next 45 minutes or so with us. I would like to start by introducing my co-presenter and the real star of the show, Dan Whitmarsh. So Dan is a solutions engineer here at HR Strategies Consulting. He has over 20 years experience helping clients achieve positive business outcomes through employee engagement initiatives, talent management process re-engineering, and adoption of HR technologies. Dan and I have been working together for a long time now, and he's always offers some very insightful takes on all things HR related. So for today, we're going to start with giving you a brief introduction to HR Strategies Consulting for those of you who have not met us before. And then we will do a quick recap of what we covered last month in part one of this webinar series. And then we're going to demonstrate the recruitment function and how to improve those candidate experiences. We will then talk about next steps and take any questions. If you do have questions during the course of the webinar, please add them to the chat and we will try to address them as we go. But we will reserve some time at the end for additional questions. And I will be sharing a copy of the presentation that we go through today, as well as a recording. So you'll be able to refer back to it, to what we go through, and also be able to share it with any colleagues of yours that might find it of interest. So let's go ahead and get started. Oh, we have a bit of feedback there. I think we're trying to get the later part of the webinar set up. We need to do some fancy footwork here.
Yeah, sorry, Stephanie, that is totally me. I expected it to transition without volume, but because it gave me that icon and it didn't come up. So sorry, everybody, for blasting your ears there. So let's get started then. Did we?
So I'll just give you a brief introduction to HR Strategies. HR Strategies has been reimagining HR to get the most from an organization's HR investments for over 20 years. We believe that employees are the foundation of an organization. So we focus on the employee experience by collectively engaging our human capital management practice with our IT practice to bring holistic solutions that align with our clients' business strategies. So the HR Strategies human capital management practice provides advice, insights, and expertise to address people issues facing firms today, while our IT practice focuses on how to identify, purchase, implement, integrate, and support technology solutions to achieve an organization's business goals. So I'll now turn it over to Dan to get us started.
Thanks, Stephanie. I'm assuming I'm off mute now and you can hear me okay?
Yes.
Awesome, great. So last time we were together, just to kind of quickly recap on what we were doing, we talked about the key elements of the candidate experience and its value. It's important for helping the right people join your organization and be part of your future success. And really, when we look at that, it was about finding the opportunities, researching your value proposition, and applying. Those are the things that a seeker undertakes. And then later into their journey as a seeker, they get evaluated by your organization, selected, and there's communication shared as they become a candidate within your organization. And then eventually, if things go well, they progress to becoming a new hire where they're being welcomed into your organization with a clear call to action, a clear path to success. And those are really the three key elements. And when we broke that down, we talked about it in 5 areas. And I don't know if you remember the fun we had in calling this a brash or a respectfully brash assessment. It was really about making sure your brand attracts the right people and repels the wrong people. Making sure that your reach is out there, because we saw that seekers require 18 touch points or more before they actually make a decision to engage with you. And then we talked about the apply process. I mean, especially if we're targeting passive seekers who are, not sure if they're ready to commit to a full-time apply process, we really, in most cases, as HR people, make it very hard for seekers to apply and engage to our companies. And then once we move them through the process, suddenly we become mute and we don't communicate with them anymore on where they are in the status or what's happening. And in fact, there's some stats we'll share later that just talk about how poorly communication between a recruiter and a candidate can, is in our industry right now. And then the last phases of that were hired. So if we kind of look at this from that survey perspective, and I apologize if you've seen this before, this is available. We'll follow up with you if you didn't get it in the first time. Just out of curiosity, if anybody's using the chat, did they take it? I'd love to hear feedback about what you thought in the survey. It's a quick and easy way to take 5 minutes to come in and evaluate 3 questions about your brand, 3 questions about your reach, 3 questions about your apply process, 3 questions about the selection process, and 3 questions about your hiring process, and just grade them on a very poor to very good rating scale that will generate a completed scorecard from you on your brand, reach, apply, selection, hiring initiatives, and then an overall grade. There was some great research that came out of the talent board not long ago that talked about, I think I have it as a stat coming up in a few slides. Sorry, it slipped my head right now, but it's a very high percentage of recruiters who have never applied to one of their own jobs and are really quite unsure of what that experience is even like to come in and get to be a candidate in one of their requisitions. So these are the things we're up against. And our plan for today is to take you on a journey to show you how we can solve for brand, reach, apply, selection, and hiring, because I am sure if we force this as a homework assignment and you all hand it in your grades, not everybody's an A+. Okay, so let's jump back into the PowerPoint. How did your organization measure up? Well, if you're an A+, it doesn't mean it's an end game. We'll talk about that. It doesn't mean it's over and you're perfect. I mean, I'm sure there's always room for improvement to make the experience better. But what we're going to do today is in our roadmap, we're going to go through 5 key scenarios. We're really looking at moving the needle on a sub 10% conversion rate, which is about the industry average, depends on which researcher of the day you read, and increase the quality of the hire and decrease new hire turnover. So our journey is going to be 5 steps. Brand, we're going to look at how this is agile and easily managed. Then we're going to look at reach, how getting jobs out to the market, or what I call the greater candidate universe beyond your own job site. And then the application process. I'll show you some examples as a seeker and how we can really make it easier to apply to jobs or join talent communities. And then finally, we're going to take a look quickly at some selection and communication pieces. And then we're going to look at the essence of hiring and what's required to make a great hiring experience. Everybody ready for that? Yeah,
I can't wait.
Heads nodding. All right, let's get going. Scenario number 1, brand. We have to make this agile and easily managed. So what I'm going to do is log into one of my demo accounts here as Tessa Walker, who is the recruiting head of our organization. And she has the ability to manage her career site. So I know that anybody who's out there using various ATSs, you often complain about the candidate experience where the ATS meets the candidate. We've actually taken the best of the best in terms of career sites and melded it with the ATS to make one kind of unified recruitment marketing platform. So let's jump in and take a look and see what you think. So here's my access. Everything is software as service. I'm going to log in as Tessa Walker. I'm not telling you my password, no. And when we come in here as full, we're going to see she lands by default because recruiting is her primary focus. This is her bread and butter, her day. This is her bailiwick. So she lands into the system and can see automatically by default the recs that she's working. We'll spend more time on that user interface in a few minutes. Where I'm just going to go up to the top is Manage Career Site. And I'm going to go to, oops, it's called Career Site Builder. And see there, Manage Career Site Builder. So you don't have to like navigate through links. You can just type in and it knows where in the system you are. And this is a role-based feature and privilege that Tessa and 2 other people in the organization have set up, okay? So what I wanted to talk about first is this navigation down the left-hand side. First and foremost, when we go to the home page, we have multiple brands. So I'm going to start with my default brand. And when I get to that home page, you're going to see the back end that looks very much like a WordPress, if anybody's ever used this. And it is like a WordPress, but it's on steroids. I mean, the capabilities here of what this system can do and deliver and design is incredible. And when I click through here and I start looking at these brand elements, what I can do right here on the top right is I can actually take a look at a piece by clicking into a section. So these are all sections of my career site, okay? And you can see I've got the text is editable, the images are editable, I can change positioning, I can change email connection points, I can look at the styles and say, hey, I don't want this to be in white anymore, I want it to be in a different background color, I can change, and the capabilities to do infinite control over this are massive. We can do a differential experience for desktop, tablet, and mobile. So we could just set one version for desktop, and then the system will actually recognize the platform or device that the user's on and do a differential experience. So if you wanted some features built into your desktop version that you know are cumbersome and hard to manage on a mobile version, you can turn them off on the mobile version and only have them on a tablet or desktop version. But the key points here that I wanted to show you was the ability to come in and look at this, these elements and add new elements to it. I can do custom plugins, which allow me to use any kind of Java or Bootstrap. I can insert featured job widgets. I can look at Google Maps. And as we scroll down, you see that all these pieces are here and they're just drag and drop and they fall into place to make the candidate experience. And that candidate experience, I guess I should show you what it looks like. It looks a little bit like this. So here are these sections and you think, oh my gosh, that's terrible. We've got black text on a blue header, and I kind of did that intentionally so that when I come into the platform, I might want to change this section here, which is the Join Our Team section. So this is down here, it's after the video, it's right here. And I'm going to come in and it says Join Our Team. And I think, wow, it's got a terrible blue background. Well, let's change that and make it white, or we can do any color under the rainbow. It's not restricted to what's here, but these are just the more popular colors. And when I hit that white and say preview, instantly that section is changed. So there's no delays, there's no waiting. If I said, I don't really want to put an interactive map out here that shows our jobs and interacts with seekers, I could literally come back into that site, go back to the pages and take out that map just by clicking delete, and it's gone. Or I could move the map up and put the Join Our Team below. So the capabilities are really powerful inside of this system to give you the ultimate control over the brand. Now, I've only shown you the first of all of these navigation items on the left, and I'm not going to go through them all. I don't need to bore you with that. That's a full 1 hour walk on its own. But really, in terms of the capabilities, you can have multiple brands and you can spin up a brand in a matter of minutes on your own at no additional cost. So say, for instance, you wanted to put out some jobs for a subsection of your business that might be focused on engineering, and you want to change the imagery to be very, mechanical and engineering oriented with great images, graphic and text, very specific to that type of crowd. It takes literally minutes to copy, manage your brand, put up a new career page, and then map the jobs from the engineering side of your company only to that engineering page so that you can manipulate and manage which jobs land on which pages. So this is not just about managing one page. It's about an unlimited number that you might want to spin up and create for seasonal hires, retail hires, engineering jobs, whatever uniqueness that you need, where you feel that that career page needs to articulate a differential value proposition than the rest. Additionally, in here, you can set defaults of brand standards and hold them so that when you say, hey, apply brand A or brand B against the new page I'm going to create, you have that capability. You can add all kinds of tools in terms of brand management, building custom forms, importing and exporting data, setting out API credentials if you want to connect your jobs to other places and sources, managing all the social apply methodologies that are in place. There is translations available. You can do this and manage them all in as many languages as you want. The settings allow for the collection and distribution and integration with the ATS. And then finally, the site configurations, data privacy, security configurations can be differential per country. And then finally, at the end, Tessa gets to manage her recruiters. So you can see here, I've got career site builder admin role is assigned to me, and I might set up Stephanie Ostry as the Canadian specific role manager, which means that she can only come in and only manage the content, the look and feel of the Canadian locale sites, but not the Spanish ones or the German or the US ones. So you can really define, if you're a big organization or multinational organization, who gets access to what in a very easy manner. Any comments or questions in the chat pane, Stephanie, as we go through that? I know that's a very high level conversation, but I thought it was worth at least showing them that this is here and it's very easy drag and drop formatting.
Yeah, nothing came up, but I think, just in general, it really is beneficial to be able to provide that sort of customized experience for a candidate as they go through. So, to talk about your engineering example, those types of roles are not going to apply to everyone, and the way you present them wouldn't necessarily be the same. So I think that's a great benefit to be able to switch that up so easily.
Awesome. Good input. Thank you, Stephanie. So really, when you think about brand, how agile and easily managed it can be, this is solving for that problem. You have multiple brands, you have differential value propositions. It's not a one size fits all. Some sites could have videos, some sites don't. Some sites have job specific content, some sites don't. This puts that all in your fingertips and let you change on the fly without needing to engage in an extra service. So, in summary, really, this is getting you deeper into that passive seeker pool. I don't know if you recall from part one where we talked about that landmark CLC report, that brand impacts the ability to penetrate further into the passive market. It engages seekers. And most importantly, it gives them a reason to keep coming back and look. They can set up alerts, and we're going to see this all from a candidate's perspective in a second when we talk about application. And it makes it agile and self-managed, so it evolves on the fly. You don't have to wait for another 3 years for your career site contract to run around, and change it when that time permits. Okay, so let's move to number 2 then of 5. Tessa enables jobs for distribution. Remember, we talked about that Glassdoor research that said it takes on average 18 touch points before a seeker makes a decision to apply. And we're breaking down that myth that it was a linear approach where a seeker sees a job and they apply. Again, that could happen. That's typically a very active seeker, but we're looking more at the passive or the normal community who thinks about a commitment to a new job before they do so, and the ability to get to those passive seekers. So what I want to show you is, again, I'm going to stay logged in as Tessa, but I'm going to go to the distribution portion of the board. So where I'm going to go first here, let's just go to Tessa's homepage or into recruiting story. She's got a lot of features, functionality, because this is a full suite demo instance where I've got performance management, succession, career development, all those learning, all those great modules on. But if we look here at the open job requisitions, we can see a column over on the far right that tells me if they're internally posted, externally posted, or even posted to agencies or not posted at all. So if I took this job here for a tree climber, that's a pretty funny job. I'm going to actually just say, hey, I want to post this. So first and foremost, the obvious is that you're going to post it on your own career site. So we can differentially post this on our internal site and our career site, or we may not want to. It could be a private job and we don't want people to know that it's going to be on our career site and we're hiring for somebody, because there's only one person who does that in our company and they don't know they're about to be, terminated. So this allows you to differentially put this on your internal or external career sites. But then further to that, we have this ability to post and manage jobs to job boards and university systems, okay? So it's really simple in the interface. As a recruiter, my team has set me up with pre-configured sites that I'm allowed to use. So when I come in, there might be one or two profiles, one for say, engineering jobs, or one for nursing jobs, or one for retail jobs. And when I click through that posting, what we call profile, it says, all right, so you're choosing this classification or group of jobs. So we're gonna tell you it should go to Career Builder, Indeed, and you can use any of these other sites if you choose to. Now, we don't purchase inventory here. We manage the connection point and the passover. So if it is not a free site, you do need to have available credits with those destinations. But you can see it also does say which ones are free. And then if I were to hit next, it's going to pre-populate with the two that are built into my profile and say, hey, just to be clear, so you're going to go to these two sites from this account, and what you will need are common fields that we have, and then it's going to say location needs to be populated. For career site, they need to know, or for, sorry, Career Builder, they need to know your industry and your job type, and Indeed wants to know your per month and your currency. And when you're ready, you hit next. So this helps you get that job not only onto your career site, but out to other career sites. And we'll look deeper right now, actually, because where I'm going to go is I'm going to go to recruiting posting. Sorry, that's blue on blue. I should have changed my color scheme a little bit. It doesn't show up. I just typed that into the top, and what it's telling me here, oh, manage recruiting posting. You can see that there. And the color schemes, by the way, I was playing around with it this morning. Those are completely configurable and changeable as well. But in here is I, Tessa, as the administrator, have access to 3,406 approximate job boards and school distribution systems. It says, you know, I've got 4 profiles set up so I can manage those groups. Remember the HRBP or the demo group where I can actually set up the instances for the different types of our parts of our organization, or I can just start coming in and looking through the job boards that we've selected and manage the job boards. Let's take a look first and foremost at the job boards. So there are 776 job boards. We can filter, search by country, we can search by language or specialties, and pull up the list of boards that match us and then add them to our defined list. And then there's also a list of 2,000 and some odd schools in here where we can send these jobs on an automated feed to those educational institutes. And again, they're searchable by country, by specialization, or by types of schools. Okay, so this really helps you with the R of the brush. This is reach. This is the ability to not only put your jobs on your site, but get them out to a broader audience so that they start exposing or being exposed to seekers and counting off one of those 18 valuable points where they have to look at your brand and go, gee, I keep seeing that company coming up looking for Java developers. I should really investigate who they are. And they land on your brand and they love your brand and what you are. And that's how they become an applicant, which is what we're going to look at next. How was that for a segue, Stephanie? Did you like that?
I did like that.
All right, so it says 3,700 and something in my demo account. There's actually over 4,000 plus partners, including all the major social media destinations. And we're going to see this from the seeker's perspective in a second. You can manage that distribution with ease, and it really helps in getting your jobs beyond your own site. So as we just segued, now we're going to talk about the application process. If you've got your reach and your brand intact, there's no reason, if they resonate with your value proposition, which is your brand, why they wouldn't become an applicant. We're going to look at the ways we can leverage that seeker into an application, okay? Really, when you think about over 60% of the seekers abandon their job applies within minutes, right? This is 2020 Talent Board data, and over 2/3 of initial job views are being consumed on mobile. It's really telling us we have to change the way we choose for a seeker to originally engage with us. They could monitor you, look at you all you want, but that's not truly engagement. So what we're going to do is look at a fictitious candidate here and see how that looks. So a couple things here. Tech team on the web promotion platform, were you able to? Yes, you were able to get this happening. So I'm going to share my screen, but not from the desktop. I want you to see 1, 2, 3, 0. Tell me, start sharing. Yes, it's working. That's awesome.
I wasn't convinced you were going to be able to manage it, to be honest.
I surprise myself sometimes. So this site should look familiar. Here's that career site that we looked at just a few minutes ago, and I didn't save that change of changing that background to white, but you can tell how this site is optimized for mobile. I'm going to go back a couple pages, and I Googled up careers at Harley-Davidson. So if I wanted to just come in and say, wow, what's out there? You know, you should see careers, and you can see work for us, view job openings. And you'll see a nice page that says, hey, search by keywords, search by location, or see all positions. Or if you're not sure, just drop an email and come join us, right? So we make it super easy for candidates to choose their engagement methodology. And of course, they're all multilingual. And the universal hamburger menu allows you to open up. And yes, that is what it's called when you see the 3 bars on a mobile device. It is called a hamburger, okay? So that makes it really easy to create alerts and or say, hey, just notify me if anything in Wisconsin shows up for mechanics. But I don't want to apply right now. So there's tons of things you can do. I did mention a good example here. Let's take a look at Amtrak. Amtrak careers. Again, you can see that you can create jobs. Let's start from the beginning. Careers at Amtrak. It would be helpful if I could spell. You can see that you land on a nice page and it talks about featured job categories. So this is that example where I was talking about where they have railroad operations, customer service, labor and skill technicians, engineering, mechanical, and information technology. You can see that each one of these images really portrays a different type of value proposition. And if I go through into one of those sections for IT people, I start to see just the jobs related to that segment. Each job comes up and I can create an alert saying, hey, I want to see more of this type of job in these areas. And I can apply now if I want to. And it is completely optimized for mobile experience. Okay. Of course, the other option here is to, let's take a look at this company. Big grocery store. The Kroger group of families, so we can search jobs. We see tons of jobs out there. Again, we're making social media available to seekers, so that contributes to some reach efforts where seekers are now going to share that job with other seekers, okay? But this is the beauty of a mobile experience. It makes the application easy. You know, nobody's going to sit down with a full cover letter, a full, I shouldn't say nobody, let's correct that. Very few people will actually do the full apply, build their profile, upload cover letters, ask for any qualification documents, references, and a resume from a mobile device. But you may start the apply and get in the door and say, hey, I'm here and I'm interested, which allows the recruitment team to really see what you've given them so far and make decisions. Hey, we'd really like to move you forward. I need you to upload or visit the career site with a desktop and do these extra steps. So instead of addressing those abandon rates, you know, the 2/3 or 60% plus of abandons, we're giving them easy ways to engage with the job and move forward to the next step. All right. I am going to try and take control back from my desktop. Let's see if I'm successful. Cross your fingers, Stephanie. I think I am.
I was going to say, uh-oh, but.
Yeah, we're good. So what we've just looked at is an easy to use talent community, easy apply methodologies, and a mobile UI. So we're coupling this up with your reach and with a great brand. So really the first 3 elements are leading this candidate, if they engage with your brand and your voice resonates with them, then they're going to go through the apply, and we make it easy for that to happen. So the next phase we want to talk about is selection. So selection, this is where seekers, 63% of candidates, I knew I had this stat in here somewhere, say that employees don't communicate adequately, and actually poor candidate experiences will cause 69% of the seekers to never work with your company again. So you can imagine that not only are these people potential applicants, I'm not sure what line of business you're in, but I'm sure you sell at some point to a consumer. And if that brand doesn't resonate with the consumer because they had a terrible experience as an applicant, you're doomed. It's not a good situation, right? So you want to give a world-class quality candidate experience. It's in your best interest because it gets you the right talent, and it also leaves a better experience with the end seekers. The stat I was thinking of, and I think it's 53 or 54% around there, of seekers say that they never get another piece of communication beyond the thank you for your resume message that's auto-generated from the apply process. So that's half. Half of the world does not send another communication piece to seekers. So we're going to log in as Tessa, and we're going to show you how we can change some of this. All right, let's go back to here, and I'm going to go back to Tessa as a recruiter, and I'm going to look at a very complicated workflow. So I might look at, let me sort this pile. So here's a good rec, 42 candidates into this project manager position. So I'm going to jump into those 42. That's more rec management screen we're talking about. And then as I jump in, I see a pretty big list of workflow statuses of seekers that I'm managing. I'm the recruiter, so I see the entire span of control. But the hiring manager for this job, who is Jeff Hill, if he were to log in, he might only see the statuses. Everything is going to be grayed out, and he can't click through to see new applicants or phone screens. He's only going to see maybe shortlist, the 3 statuses under interview, whoever's at background check, assessments, and offer. Because after that, he's out of the process. So this is all a highly configurable workflow that allows per role level user access so that they only get to the details and information they need, okay? And in here, we can set up communications so that every time a seeker gets moved into a particular space, I could come in here and select a group of seekers and move them forward to the next step, or I could sort by what status they're in and look at all of the people in the phone screen status and just take these 9 and say, oh boy, this Janice is really good. She's blue, she's internal. Amy here is yellow, so she's an external candidate, or they could be a referral candidate or an agency candidate. And I'm gonna move Amy right over, whoops, sorry. I'm going to move Amy just by grabbing the 3 bars there. I might drag her and drop her right over into a different status. And immediately, I've got my system triggered to send a notification to Amy saying, hey, Amy, congratulations, you've been moved forward a step in the process, or whatever your custom message is. We'd love to take these next steps with you. Please let us know your availability, if it's interview or not. So the way that this is really managed is very easy. But that blue on blue makes it hard.
Yeah, I think you have some things not quite right there.
Oh, yep, so let me refresh the screen.
Your typing is getting in the way today.
It is, and I've got a glare from the window here, so. All right, so manage, I found it. Let's go to manage recruiting email templates. So there is an unlimited number of templates that you can store in the system. They're super simple to manage. They come in multiple languages. They also come in a text version if you prefer to text and email, or both, or either or. And you can create new ones on the fly. They can include BCCs, attachments, and you can take rich HTML with logos and videos, links and signatures, and use what we call merge tokens that pull in rec details or their position information, first name, last name, your information. And you can build out an unlimited number of templates that you might want to put into the process. So I'm just going to go back and I'm going to pick one that's already open. So maybe it's the interview reminder template. Okay, you can see the messages here. It automatically highlights the yellow pieces, which are going to be variables pulled based off of the candidate and the requisition marriage and what's in that process. There's a preview of the text message. And when these messages are set up, you can actually trigger them for configuration. So you see configure triggers here. By clicking on that link, I can simply go, okay, so what are the steps that go through our process? And this is a defined list of all agency-related activity, applicant-related activity, or candidate-related activity. And we could say, well, let's find candidate to self-schedule interview. That's already configured. So let's take interview confirmation to candidate. So we could take this message and say, okay, I want to enable this message and I want to pull in any of these types of triggers, and I want to send the D7 interview reminder template, or pick a letter, and I can preview what that looks like. You can pop that open in full screen and then send that message. Or I might want to say, you know, imminent candidate purge, and I want to turn this on, and then I'm going to select a communications template that's triggered by a candidate action. So now, you know, the responsibility should always, first and foremost, rest with the recruiter to be a responsible communicator with a seeker or a candidate. But we're adding an additional layer into the equation where when we move them, we're allowing the system to auto-generate communications and give them a very specific message that you can craft about why they've been moved. Additionally, when a seeker is logged in and we didn't create a candidate profile, they get those notifications in their interface when they're logged in, and they can see their status in any and all jobs that they've applied to. So there's no shortage of seeker communication in the application. Stephanie, any questions or comments on that so far? No? Steph, I think you're on mute, actually.
I was having mouse problems, so I couldn't unmute myself. But no, there wasn't anything specific on that.
Okay. So one of the other big troubles here, and I'm going to spend a minute doing this too, because it's really a very powerful piece, is the communications pain that we hear most often from recruiters is around scheduling interviews. So we've built this beautiful interview scheduling tool. So I'm going to come in here to interview scheduling, and I'm going to take a look at this production oversight manager. It says, hey, there's 9 candidates who've been set up into interview statuses. We need to schedule them. 8 have not been started. So I'm going to look at those 8 and going to go, okay, select all. And I'm going to say start scheduling. So what it's done is it said, okay, we've got 8 seekers we want to communicate with. I'm going to call this interview 1. It's going to be virtual. We're going to pick it via Zoom perhaps, or we could set a room if it's a physical event at our facilities. And then we say, okay, who's going to be involved in this? Well, Tessa is, T. Walker, and that's Tessa. And then Jeff Hill is the hiring manager. There he is. So we're adding them, and it's blocked us starting for 30 minutes, but it might be something like this. It might be Tessa stays and she does an hour-long interview. She's the recruiter. Jeff only comes in for the last 30 minutes, or maybe it's even an hour with Tessa and 30 minutes with Jeff. Whatever your configuration, you can set those parameters, okay? Now, I actually own the schedules for Tessa and Jeff. So then I can say, all right, go to Outlook, find me an hour-and-a-half slots that are available, and it will do so. Here's when Jeff and Tessa show availability. And I can start picking all of those spots. Now, mine are obviously, these people don't have real calendars, so there's nothing in their way, but I could maybe pick 10 spots. Oops. And then I say, all right, so let's continue and send these people a message. So what it's going to do, invoke the interview invitation 1 template. I've already got that configured as a trigger behind the scenes. I can send it as email, text, or both. I can send a copy and I can send this out. And what's going to pull is the first name. It's going to give them a link and say, hey, dear candidate, we'd love to schedule an interview with you. Click through the link and it's going to open a really nice portal that's also optimized for mobile. And it's going to say, here's a bunch of time slots that work for us. And when they pick one, that one of 10 spots disappears and there are 9 left. And so it's first come, first serve until you've got all of your seekers blocked off and put into a spot. So this solves that whole awkward dance of hunting down candidates one at a time and doing a status updates, okay? So it's almost like a shotgun distribution out via email. They don't see each other's in emails. It's a one-to-one relationship, and they can book through and manage a time that's convenient and works for them. I love this feature. It's a really nice feature. All right.
And so Dan, I just want to make sure that you are okay with timing wise, because we're at 1:42 here. So
yeah, for sure. Let's go to the last of the 5 scenarios then, if that's okay. So we're going to talk about Jada. She's our hiring manager. So Jada is going to take the responsibility now. Jeff Hill maybe it was Jada who was the hiring manager here, and Tessa have done a great job at moving seekers through all that flow. They've gotten them through the brand. They've gotten them through the reach. They've made them an easy apply process. They've done great communication in the selection steps, and now it's hiring where communication is probably even more important than in the selection phases. So I'm going to log into the situation because what we find is hiring is essential. 20% of turnovers happen within the first 45 days. People sign up for something, get in there and go, this company does not have it together. I'm out of here, okay? 60% of companies fail to set new hire expectations. So a lot of people are hired and they don't even know what's expected of them for the first week, first month, first 90 days. That's a big mistake. A good new hire experience contributes 50% higher productivity. And there's varying statistics out there that really tell us a great story too about how fast or what the time to productivity is if the onboarding experience is good. So let's jump in. And this time I'm going to log out of the recruiter and I'm going to log into Jada Baker's account, who's the hiring manager. All right. Come on, technology, work with me. There we go. So we are logged in as Jada Baker. And right off the bat, she's into the onboarding and offboarding module. So that's by default. I've set that up. She doesn't, you can choose as an end user, depending upon your specialty, where you need to land. So I'm going to scroll through here to find Danny Wang, who's one of our new hires in Chicago. And what I can do right out of the gate is craft a custom message. Hey, Danny, welcome. Thank you for signing off on the offers and the onboarding process, which is all part of the recruitment experience. We'll show that in a different time. And say, we're really looking forward to having you on Monday. Show up, park in this spot, see Jim, who's the main receptionist, and Jim is going to bring you right up to me, and use the visitors parking on Monday. We'll get all that sorted out. So you can send this message so that the next time Danny logs into the portal, she's going to get that message as her welcome message inside the portal. It's a custom message from her new manager. Then in there, we can put in recommended links. Hey, Danny, so here's some things that you need to know. Hey, to onboard you, I need you to go here. You need to be aware that we have this collaboration platform called Jam where everybody talks and shares social things about work and productivity and what's happening. There's also a link here that we have out there for a virtual offer tour, and I can add more. One of the things I might add is, hey, here's a link to our new hire curriculum, which is curriculum designed and hosted in the learning management system, delivered in the same interface that's geared for the first 30, 60, 90, 120 days. That is actually a segue to the next topic we'll talk about in April, but we can add an infinite number of links and information in here. Now, the other beautiful part is that it says, hey, here's some meetings that I, Jada Baker, have in my calendar, and I want to tee up some meetings now. So when you get in on the first day, that you're already included in some team meetings. And I might make a team meeting just to introduce you. So we can set these meetings up so that Jada knows, and they're already in her calendar on the first day before she's even perhaps gotten her email address. And this is a testament. I mean, I hear horror stories all the time from new hires who show up on their first day of work and then they see everybody pile into the glass-walled boardroom and they're sitting there at their desks thinking, what's going on? And then suddenly opens the door and says, oh, sorry, we forgot to invite you. Come on. I mean, that's a big miss. And this helps avoid that, right? The other thing that we can do is assign buddies. So I could say, hey, Janice, you know, you're the project lead on Danny's team leading this new project management phase that we've hired her for. I want you guys to connect. And so Janice gets a notification. Danny gets a notification. They're facilitated. I know what her face looks like. I know who she is. Janice can then reach into my calendar, see my availability, and put time on my calendar. And my first day, come by and introduce yourself, and we can start that process and friendship. The other parts is not just a buddy or a mentor. There's recommended people. Hey, I hear that Danny is a scratch golfer and plays at, you know, one of the local courses. Lisa's there all the time. She's also a member there. I think you two should connect. It'd be great. Or, you know, Lisa sits next to you in your office space, so you should probably get to meet her because you're going to be spending time together. And then it actually suggests people in the organization based off of skills, competencies, locations, and different rules we can write into the system, okay? The other thing we can do as a new hire is furnish equipment. You know, we might have to get them an access badge, business cards, cubes, parking passes, all those great things. This is a configurable piece that can be set up so that we're managing and collecting and making sure that when somebody gets there on day one, they're not waiting for the laptop to be set up. It's already there and done for them. The last two items on here are really great. So there's a standard standard checklist that our team has built for us, which says, did you do all of these things? And this is for me, Jada Baker, as a manager. And I can also create my own checklist. And then finally, what I can do is come in and set some goals. So these can be 30-day objectives, 60-day objectives, 90-day objectives. And I can build out these goals, add them so that just Jada knows this is what you're asking of me, because it's a big miss to come into an organization and not know where you stand or what they're looking to have you do by the first 30 days. So that makes a world-class hiring experience so that when Danny Wang comes in, she gets a link to all of this information before she's even showed up on day one. There are forms to fill out, there's experiences to view, and I mean, that's a full onboarding demo where I could show you this perspective from Danny Wang's side. But I don't think we have time for it today, I would say, right, Stephanie?
No.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. I'm going to put the PowerPoint back up if I can figure out how to do that. We've looked at the onboarding improvement in the experience. We've looked at setting expectations. We've prevented new hires from falling through the cracks. So we've nailed the brand, the reach, the application, and the hiring. You know, if you think about all of this coming together, we've got best in class can reduce turnover by 40%. That's huge. Increased revenue per employee by 17%. Who wouldn't take 17% more points at the end of the year? And you can play 60% deeper into the passive seeker pool. This is just such a natural and logical flow to go through that brash experience that we really truly believe it's worth the effort to make this a world-class candidate experience. So final thoughts on this from me. Sorry, I've been talking a lot. Your brash experience is always evolving. It's never complete. Your employee value proposition and your offerings to seekers changes. Your business changes. New things are going to crop up and evolve and be required to be articulated in the career site next week, next month, next quarter. So you need to be fluid in doing that. You need to reach destinations, you know, the reach destinations where job boards cycle up and down. I mean, you know, a few years ago, it was LinkedIn, and then it was Indeed, and then it was Monster, and then it's Career Builder, and then now it's Nuevo. It goes all over the place. So be ready to use as many of them as you can. Don't rely on a single source, because remember, they're not really where the candidate came from. The reason they made their mind to join you, they're just one of the 18 instances on where they saw your brand in the first place, okay? Seeker behaviors change, their priorities and their profile portability evolves. So we've connected with apps like Apply with LinkedIn, right? That make it super easy for somebody just to come in and log into their LinkedIn credentials and instantly port over their information. They depending on the job market, they can get overly aggressive and be more willing to spend time in a full apply, or they may be very happily employed and just casually put in some talent pools or communities to be monitoring the jobs that come from you. We also use artificial intelligence and non-biasing tools. And this is embedded in most systems. So we have systems like Olivia that do full interactive experiences where somebody may never even need to apply. There's an automatic chatbot that shows up that allows for a seeker to just engage with an instant chatbot, drag a resume over to them, and then it gets into the recruiter's hands, and they never had to create an account in the first place. So there's a lot of cool features and functionality out there. And then last, unexpected events occur. So things just change. Your businesses change, your processes change. You need to make changes, and this system equips you with the capabilities to do that. So you should plan to revisit quarterly your results from that Brash survey index. And if you need help, we're here to help you with that. Stephanie?
Okay, yep, that's great. So we've been focused today and in the last session on the sort of blue part of the employee life cycle. So that's the joining piece. We're talking about hiring and onboarding and the improvements that can be made to the candidate experience throughout. And now we're going into really the employee experience and those same sorts of benefits that you can achieve from having a great candidate experience. Well, that also applies to the employee experience. So we're now going to move into the pink section of the cycle in the next few webinars that we're going to do. Starting with next month, we'll be looking at learning and really looking at things that can be done to try and improve upon some of the challenges around learning and development in an organization from the employee's perspective. So really trying to work on seeing both sides of the situation. So both from the organization's perspective and making things easy, as well as from the employee themselves perspective. So I think if you can just go to the next slide. So obviously, as Dan said, we're here to help. We'd certainly love to talk about how we might be able to work with you to assess and improve those areas around your candidate and your employee experience. And then we'll just go into the next steps that we're going to take here. And so we will, as I said, be sharing this deck and the recording from today's session. And we'll also share that Brash audit again that we talked about so that you can complete that for your own organization if you didn't have an opportunity to do it. Certainly we'd love to talk to you some more about, again, how we can help. Our contact information is here. So if you do have any specific questions, you can feel free to reach out to either me or to Dan. And as we said, the next session's on April 20th. You can sign up on our website. So it's we've called it Welcome Aboard, Now What? So really looking at where you go from that sort of initial first day and how you flesh out what comes next. So I don't see any further questions in the chat, Dan. So I think we're probably good to wrap it up.
I'm assuming that means we've been thorough and everybody understood what we were taking, the journey we're taking them on today. That's a good sign.
Hopefully that is the case. So again, thank you all for your time today. We certainly appreciate it. And please reach out to us directly if you do have any questions or want to talk further. Thanks very much.
Thanks all.